Today was kind of a rough day, a mixed day. It was good in ways, but rough in ways too. I kind of screwed up one of my relationships, and I'm feeling the effects of that. Sometimes what happens with me is that when another person gets kind of emotional and stuff, I can't deal with it, so I just distance myself. And then I think that I'm fine with that distance. And then after a period of time, I realize, wait a minute, that was a friendship, and now I've kind of screwed that up by distancing myself. So I'm feeling that because I'm feeling the loss of that contact and the potential for contact and interaction in the future. So that sucks. And I was actually feeling it as physical pain in my body, kind of like death. And yet I was sitting there and researching certain things, researching lifestyle design aspects, trying to figure out how to make it through the next couple of months here. And I found some good possibilities, but I was still feeling that pain in the background. So I just need to keep moving, and I've been researching the business aspect of things too, and I realized that it could be helpful for me to learn this process and maybe share it with others like me, because oftentimes we feel like we connect with something, a message, or so many different things, yet we end up talking about it to psychiatrists who pathologize us, when maybe if we had a business, we would have different audience. So it could be a valuable thing to discover and go through. I moved because it was a bit too loud over there. And I'm sure in my talking to myself, I talk a lot about what to do with these insights, the process, and things like that. And lately I haven't really been having too many insights at all. And I feel like as lifestyle design factors become more incongruent, the level of insights or the access to insights actually goes down. So right now, my situation isn't really in alignment with how I would design my life if I felt free to do so. Whereas in California, it was mostly ideal. Not 100%, but I still felt a lot more freedom. So now I feel like it's probably more important to explore these lifestyle design factors. And I'm not going into the whole situation about why I'm not completely free to just design exactly what I would like at this moment. There are a few things that need to unfold as time goes on in these next months. And instead of sitting around ruminating about waiting for those possibilities to unfold, it's important to perhaps experiment a little bit. So I've decided to live with some family, just having one little room to myself in a house, and that's fine. And so what I could do is, there's somewhere I might want to go on a little trip for like 10 days, and so I might do that in September. So that would be exploring lifestyle design. And then while I'm there, maybe exploring the possibility of living in that area or just seeing around that area. And also taking the time to learn where I might want to live, or if I want to have a mobile lifestyle. I'm going to stay in Canada till at least February, and perhaps through the summer as well, and then maybe go away for a period of time again starting in October, or maybe go away for a month in February. I'm not sure, but I was sort of mapping out those possibilities of going somewhere again mid-February for a month and then coming back and then going again for a month to be able to get through the winter and then go away perhaps October of next year. So deciding on things like that, and I've talked about wanting to go study with Patch Adams and perhaps go to the Alternatives Mental Health Conference next summer. It's happening this weekend right now, but I just got back, so I didn't want to take off again, and I can't really afford to. And then also mapping out planning to get the new iPhone, since I do so much talking to myself on video, as well as maybe a new laptop that has better video editing potential, because I was thinking of getting into maybe making documentaries or something. What else can this type of self-dialogue seed that has nothing to do with this process, and maybe not ever sharing this process, but the important part is what it seeds, and the possibility of getting into music production, which would require a better computer as well. So those are the main tools. It seems like the little money that I have, I spend on technology or supplements, and then I go to Value Village to buy clothes. Though I realize I have a lot of clothes. I don't really have a lot of summer clothes, but I have collected a lot from Value Village over the last number of years. And one thing I was researching today was, do content creators need to create a business in order to protect themselves in terms of liability? Because I really want to share, but at the same time, I don't really know all that I've said, and I don't know about this whole liability thing, and I wouldn't want to be dumb about that. And I was listening to the Audacity to Podcast episode 80, and it talked about this a little bit, but it talked about it more in the framework of, is your podcast a business? They were saying that it might just be a business or seem like a business if one is making money off of it. And I haven't created it to make money, but perhaps I could, in order to make it a business, in order to make it legitimate in terms of turning it into a business, to do the liability protection thing at the same time as maybe make some money off of it, and not as the primary objective. If that was a primary objective, I wouldn't have spent 1,000 hours or more probably in the last year creating this, and I would have been trying to make money off of it all along. But it might be something that could generate some money, which would then substantiate it as a business, which would then make sense to have some kind of liability. And the other thing that I've realized is, in sharing it, it might open up channels to co-create with people, so having a business in place would probably be handy for that. I can imagine people like me reaching out to co-create certain aspects, and then perhaps they'd be able to just be a part of the business somehow. So just by sharing this, the business structure might evolve, as opposed to me actually creating the business. So I'm going to look into that stuff more, and perhaps start uploading the podcast to SoundCloud. And I do need to back up all the videos that I made in California. So I do have some stuff to do, and I haven't been having insights, so that's not going to add to it, which is nice. And I still need to type up the rest of my insights from California, just to have that in one place, and start looking into this businessy stuff and lifestyle design. Focusing this next while on how to design my life plus how to design it with a business. And this could be really helpful for people who go into these hyper creative states that end up being interpreted as pathology. If we're able to create a business structure and channel things into that, perhaps it won't be seen as a pathology, because what we end up creating a lot of times never gets noticed or never gets shared. It's kept to ourselves in the state of manic consciousness. Yet if we had a business structure, maybe we would have an understanding of, when we have that creative energy, what part of the business we're creating. So yeah, it could be interesting to create something like that and see if this process is helpful, instead of continuing to talk about insights, which I have 100 type pages of, and I have books full that I wrote before I ever started this process of self-dialogue. So talking about insights isn't something that I can't pick up at another point if I choose to. And there are a few more things that I do really want to talk about that I'm going to talk about tomorrow, because I should have some space and time. And so I'll create a number of videos tomorrow. I plan to, at least. And, edit them, and I'm 17 videos after this one away from 400. And I was planning to do 400 by September 11th. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. And like usual, things change on a daily basis, but I am seeing that it's important to create something and also design my life at the same time. I'm seeing that if I have more of a mobile life, I could take the self-dialogue or some kind of thing on the road and maybe go around and look at other places that are doing great things. For example, there is a respite center in Winnipeg, and I don't know if it's medication free or what it is, but there are different things I could go explore. And so creating a business would perhaps give me some means to extend the reach of what I'm doing beyond just sitting with my iPhone, which requires an iPhone, a notebook, a pen, and a fast internet connection to upload the videos, and iMovie, which came with my iPhone 6S Plus. And it's the 6S Plus with the biggest capacity that it had at the time, which is 128 gigs, and also an iCloud subscription, which was 1 terabyte, and that cost $13.99 a month, and then they changed that to 2 terabytes without me having to pay any more. So those are the tools, and my phone is slowing down in terms of video editing, and it's slowing down in terms of its battery capacity, and I did have to return my battery pack. It was a little defective, and get a new one, which should be here on Monday. So those are the tools, but it would be cool to be able to be out and about and talking to other people, and also the lifestyle design thing is really important, and perhaps documenting some of that. I had some ideas today for having a community with tiny homes, and then having that as a creativity place and respite for creativity. So lots of different possibilities and ideas, or getting a camper van. All these things require money, which I don't have, but perhaps there are ways to figure that out. And we'll see. So yeah, wanting to focus on that. And yesterday on my walk in this park, I saw another owl. It was the coolest thing. And so we hung out for a while, and I really don't want to leave him. Being in a park-like setting is important to me. Right now I'm just sitting under this tree. So yeah, I'm struggling with some energies for sure. But I feel completely fine right now, and I felt completely fine as soon as I left for the park. It may have just been a long day of being at the computer, researching a bunch of things, which I don't often do. I'm usually creating dialogue with myself and not really looking into other things, but it feels like the time to start to investigate other ways of living and other possibilities. Do I want to go back to school? Do I want to live where I'm living now or close to? And I'm living 40 minutes away from my community of friends and the clubhouse, and that's challenging too. But at the same time, it could be an opportunity to really look into some of these lifestyle design factors. And lifestyle design has to do with happiness first. And I did listen to a couple of my videos, and I was reminded of some of the core principles of things that I had unfolded for myself at certain points. And it's helpful because I can't really remember that stuff. I think I just need to keep on doing whatever I can do on a daily basis, and eventually I'll figure out if I want to share this. Even if I download them all to a hard drive and then put it on another hard drive and send them to people privately or something. I don't know. Lots of possibilities. Gotta keep on moving with it all, and see what unfolds. And today I got an email from MAPS, which is that psychedelic studies people, and they raised $50,000 in 48 hours for their psychedelic peer counseling. And I was looking closer at their website, Zendo Project, and they have a really good handbook on psychedelic peer support, and also a video online that is the training for the psychedelic peer support at Burning Man. And it's so similar to people who go into these psychedelic states involuntarily or non-volitionally. And we need the same kind of care and curiosity as the people who go there through psychedelics. So I downloaded the manual. It's really good, actually, and I read it, and I was reading my emotional CPR manual as well, and just reminding myself of that thing. And I'm sure I've talked at length about all this stuff in my dialogue with myself over the year. So it'd be nice to be able to create something that actualizes some of the things that I've been talking about with myself, even though there's different pockets of all of that happening in a lot of different places. I could end up being part of a pocket somewhere, or I could create another pocket. There's always a place for another pocket of doing this type of work. And I need to continue to focus on that because I'm getting lost in myself feeling constrained by my circumstances. Yet, yeah, I don't know what it is. I'll just keep on creating. And I will talk more about that Zendo project thing because it's quite cool.